unbelievable because we were coming from a tent surrounding. Yeah. Good morning. I'm going to call to order the public meeting for Arapahoe County for May 15th, 2018. To my left is Ron Carl, the county attorney. To my far right is Gail Stumpo, the assistant clerk to the board. Ms. Stumpo, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Sharp? Absent and excused?
Correct.
Commissioner Conti? Good morning. Commissioner Baker?
Here. Commissioner Jackson, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Carl, are there any modifications to the agenda this morning?
There are no modifications to the agenda.
I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holland and seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor? Aye. That motion carries. This is the time when we open up for citizen comments. There will be a 3-minute limit, and this is for public comment on anything that's not on the agenda today. Are there any citizens? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
We're going to make sure that Commissioner Sharp, who's absent and excused this morning, gets a copy of this as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Becky Roberts. I live at 714 in Bowden Mile Road, Watkins, Colorado. On April 17th, I spoke about the Swan oil and gas site during the citizen comment period. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson, for initiating the conversation publicly. This location is unique in Arapahoe County as the only location so close to a large community. the MOUs do require it be elevated to use by special review, since multiple issues cannot be mitigated administratively. There are now 62 families that live in Watkins Farm and approximately 80 families that live south of 6th Avenue who use 6th Avenue as our only access road. If the Swan site is approved, the production trucks would use 6th Avenue as their only access road. All traffic would be impeded by these vehicles, as many as 282 times a day per well. All first responders coming to one of our homes to answer a time-sensitive call would also be impacted by the trucks slowing and stopping traffic. If there were a spill, fire, lightning strike, explosion, or spewing of toxic production material, families would be required to evacuate toward the site. The proposed emergency access road would also evacuate families toward the well. And Commissioner Baker, I think you asked for that on April 17th, and so that's the first page of your packet. A well in Hudson, Colorado, spewed 28,000 gallons of toxic waste in January of 2017. It covered an area 2,000 feet wide. The toxins would contaminate our air and vegetation, our homes and gardens, and our water wells. Smoke from any fire would blow directly west and poison the air we breathe. Accessing the minerals under Section 6 does not require the drilling be close to homes. Prosper and Conoco have 8 square miles of cornfields from which to choose. Prosper Farms already has wells drilled on the west side of Section 2. Longer laterals could be drilled to access minerals in Section 6, eliminating any additional well pad sites. Or drill from the east side of Section 1, owned by Prosper, using Watkins Farm as the access road, eliminating trucks using 6th Avenue. Commissioner Sharp, who's not here, said, quote, if there was controversy, it was something that would be elevated to use by special review as part of the MOU we wrote. There are significant issues with what is being proposed, close quote. And Commissioner Jackson said, it seems there are enough concerns from citizens to elevate it. We should ask the director to do so. Require this site be elevated to use by special review and a required alternate site analysis. Our lives, health, and safety depend on your diligence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Any other citizen comment? Please come forward. And again, you'll have a 3-minute limit. Watch the lights up here at the front. And if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hey, I'm Margie Wright. I live at 34755 East 10th Drive in Watkins. I believe Arapahoe County Commissioners and the COGCC are being sold a bill of goods by ConocoPhillips, requesting only one well on their current Swan site permit. Who in their right mind would put only one well on 12 acres? Watkins Farm residents are aware and know exactly what ConocoPhillips has in mind for these 12 acres. Several of us at our recent open house heard Maxwell Blair admit Conoco fully intended to drill additional wells on this site in 3 phases. This should be a requirement by Arapahoe County Commissioners and the COGCC to know exactly how many wells they are requesting and intend to drill on their site when they submit for permitting. They know exactly what their plans are. When Conoco withdrew their first permit request for 8 wells due to the complaints they were receiving and the issues of the nearby residents, they knew the site size needed to change. So they pulled their permit and resubmitted for 1 well. Now, if this is not a red flag, I don't know what is. We are asking that ConocoPhillips be required to use an alternate site and place the location west of Watkins Road on completely open country owned by Prosper Farms, which would be much farther from homes, much safer for residents in the event of an explosion, and less obstructive in the neighborhood ingress-egress. As you recall, Prosper Farms received first phase approval on August 15th of 2017 from Arapahoe County Commissioners for the development of their targeted 970 single-family homes development southeast of Watkins. This is in the area of this Watkins, or this Swan site, drilling site. I believe Arapahoe County Commissioners and the COGCC need to evaluate the entire development plan for Prosper Farms that they submitted near this proposed site and our Watkins farm development. As you sit before us making a decision on this Swan site, I would like to request that you take into account all of the existing homes in Watkins Farm and the proposed Prosper Farm development that is also targeted near this Swan site. An alternate site should be selected, not just an alternative site analysis. We already know Conoco does not want to change the Swan site location, and neither does Prosper Farms. Health issues on benzene in the air are being released that concludes residents living within 500 feet of an oil and gas facility have an elevated lifetime cancer risk of 8 times higher than the EPA agency acceptable limits. Are you willing to put innocent lives at risk? Sure, the report reads 500 feet, but what about the number of well sites that have already been approved around our area and the fierce winds that blow out there on our eastern plains? I ask each of you, would your questions and decisions be different if your parents or your grandchildren lived in this development? All I ask is that you represent and protect the citizens of Colorado, which you're elected to do. The health, the safety, and welfare of current, future, and future homeowners located near this Swan site is totally being pushed aside for the profits of the oil and gas companies. Thank you for your consideration relocating the Swan site to the west side of Watkins Road where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Are there any other citizen comments? Seeing none, I'll close the citizen comment period. We have only a consent agenda this morning. Are there any questions or comments about the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Holen, seconded by Commissioner Conti. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. Seeing none, that motion carries. There are no general business items or public hearings, so now we're at Commissioner comments and Commissioner Holen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On Sunday morning, I lost a very good friend, and a good friend of Arapahoe County, and that's Mayor Steve Hogan. I've known Steve for nearly 40 years. He has always been a great public servant. He served in the state legislature. He was chairman of the Democratic Party before he switched into the Republican Party. He has provided a vision for the city of Aurora, which has grown from 90,000 people to nearly 324,000 during his tenure as mayor. He will be missed. He was a collaborator. He worked with the county and the state, and was a true leader throughout the state of Colorado, and particularly the city of Aurora. We will miss him.
Thank you, Commissioner Holen. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I just want to add my condolences to his wife, Becky, and the family. And Mayor Hogan loved Aurora and had always a great vision for the city. And I always felt proud to have Mayor Hogan as my mayor, and he will be missed in so many ways.
Thank you. Commissioner Conti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only had one personal encounter with Mayor Hogan, and that was as a state legislator. And I remember requesting a meeting with him and having him immediately respond and accept that invitation. And I remember talking to him, and he spoke to me in a very respectful and understanding way. And was most receiving, despite the fact that it was going to be a very difficult issue for cities, and that was the streamlining of sales tax definitions. And he knew that was going to be a very difficult thing, but he knew ultimately, I think, that it was the best thing for Colorado to make us a more friendly business state. and make it easier for businesses to comply, and that ultimately it would raise the tax revenue of our municipalities. And although it was going to be difficult, he accepted that and recognized that it really would be the best long term, and had such a great working relationship with him. And I just really remember that and appreciate his reception and his kind reception at that meeting. So I just want to, recall my best memory with Mayor Hogan, and let his family know at this time that we are thinking and praying for them.
Thank you. And I'll just echo that I knew him fairly well, too, in a short period of time, not as long as the others. But I know that the Aurora family of employees in the city of Aurora are mourning right now, and our staff and their staff work very closely together on a number of different projects and initiatives that we tend to work closely with them on. But it's under his leadership, I think that relationship had gotten much better with the county employees, and he was a leader. And so my condolences go to the city of Aurora and the family of employees and the city council. Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? If not, our meeting is adjourned.